Hi everyone, I am AJ Heb and I am here with my friend Brandon White.
Hello.
Do you want to give a little introduction to yourself, Brandon?
Sure. My name is Brandon White. I'm like 23 years old. I love movies. I have like a bunch of streaming services to watch my movies there. One of them being the film we're gonna be talking about. Um, my favorite movies are Shawshank Redemption, The Happenings of the Cat Curtis, Columbus, and Portrait Lay on Fire. And I grew up with movies like Disney, Pixar's, and The Green Mile. So,
And now you can say you watched movies like Kissing Booth 3.
yeah. Kissing Booth 3. How could I ever forget about Kissing Booth 3?
Alright, so before we get into that, I just want to give context. Me and Brandon and I are in a group called the Star Avengers, where it's a bunch of people who watch movies and we tell each other what we think of movies. We have little sync viewings. And a few weeks ago, me and the Star Avengers, we had a sync viewing of The Kissing Booth 3 when it premiered. So, Brandon, what are your experiences with the Kissing Booth franchise?
I think I was challenged to watch the Kissing Booth trilogy. See, the thing is though about it is that I never had any plans or any thoughts. I'm like, oh, Kissing Booth movies on Netflix. I'm not gonna bother because coming of age high school films on Netflix don't seem to have a good trend nowadays. Would it be like that, Tall Girl, or 13 Reasons Why? All these type of high school films or shows that doesn't seem to have a good flack for it. So I had no interest in watching Kissing Booth, but since I was challenged to watch those first two movies, I was like, whatever. Let's see what it does. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Trash, trash, trash high school films that I had no sense of relation with. But whatever. It's like it is what it is. No, not really. It's problematic, but whatever. So, and I was pretty much just like, yeah, these are trash, really bad. Hope to God that the third film never get made. But lo and behold, the delays and of course the pandemic we're still in. It finally got into Netflix, and what better yet to watch this film than with the Star Adventures chat and go through this last film hopefully out of the series.
Yeah, I think for me, it was when you were challenged to watch it, and for context, when we say challenge, um, we have this thing between the Star Avengers where if somebody messes up, no matter what the situation is, we all give a movie for that person to watch. So for Brandon, I don't know what the situation was, but he was given the movie The Kissing Booth, and that's basically our thing. So I think when you were challenged to watch it, I think that's how I watched it because I was like, you know what? I'll be a friend. I'll see what Brandon has to suffer through, and yeah.
Yeah, no.
I think for me, I was fine with the first one because I love Joey King and I thought she did fine with what she was given, but oh, the second one was definitely worst from the first one. Yeah, because it was, yeah, I think a lot of side plots in the second movie, from what I remember.
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of hearing. It's the first film, people seem to be like, you're just not like it like I do, or they just thought it was okay. But the second one very much has like a high consensus that nobody likes the film, or at least barely anyone likes the film at all. So with the third one, does it improve? Does it not improve? Well, what do you think?
um, yeah, it's like, what is there to improve? It's a not great franchise, and the third one, we both probably agree, is the worst of of this trilogy, which I can't believe I'm saying is a trilogy.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
Let's get started with this review so we can go into why we're not that great of a fan of the third movie. So what is the story with Kissing Booth 3?
Story. Yeah, let's try to figure this out. The story of the film is about Joey King character stuck between Berkeley and Harvard through emails and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let Harvard be on hold or Berkeley on hold because I gotta figure out which college I gotta go to. And the reason why is because his best friend wanted to go to Berkeley and his love interest, Nate from Euphoria, wanted to go to like a Harvard, I believe. And so she's like stuck in this triangle situation between her best friend and her boyfriend, and thinks to herself, should I go to Harvard and be with my boyfriend, or should I go to Berkeley with my best friend who's also going to Berkeley? And that's just the main story, but again, just like the previous one, it has a bunch of side plots going off on the film, whether it be like, oh, is he cheating on me? Or, oh, like, I just don't have time between my boyfriend or my best friend. Or, oh, another Dance Revolution, or a type arcade of being sold or something like that. And of course, and another thing to top it all off, their scavenger hunt, or not their scavenger hunt, they're
The
like
bucket list from their childhood.
their early childhood, what they want to do. They're like I think it's like their bucket list. Yeah, it's their bucket list they want to do as kids. And the movie's like, what, over 2 hours long?
Yes, I think that was the same running time as the second one, or maybe a little bit shorter. But yeah, I'd say the side plots for the third movie is just as many as the side plots in the second movie, which also included Dance Revolution. But for the second movie, that was the tournament. Here, it's briefly mentioned.
It's like, why even bother at all with the Dance Revolution? Literally could have took that out. But no, they just had it added in because it's a cutesy tribute to the first two films where they do the whole quote unquote Dance Revolution ordeal. But
that
really,
was actually in the second movie. It wasn't in the first movie.
Oh, okay.
No, if anything, what we've found out, and I'll get into this, is we went from a movie about the kissing booth to second movie where they briefly mentioned the kissing booth to the third movie where they've mentioned the kissing booth once.
Essentially, they just did the whole Hangover thing where the first two are pretty much essentially the same thing. It has involvement with being hungover, but the third one decides to diverge from that and barely make it about that. It's the same way with the kissing booth, except when the third one, when they try to diverge from it, it just ends up being your very much tropey high school love triangle, quote unquote, sort of ordeal that, quite frankly, will get on a lot of people's nerves, including mine.
Definitely, yeah. Like, it is, if you did not have friends to watch this movie with, it would be hard to get through. I watched The Kissing Booth 2 on my own, and that was painful to get through. But watching the third one with you guys with Date Star Adventures was so much better since we got to do commentary. We didn't have to suffer together.
I mean, hey, you have fun with the commentary. I was just here just having a mental breakdown and just lose my goal and was just suffering so much. I feel like I will probably have the same type of reaction watching it by myself as I did with the chat. As much as I have really fun with the chat, it wasn't helping me to at least feel like, oh, it's bad, but hey, it just softens the blow. Now you're the chat. No. Even I was just so irritated and so aggressively irritated with the film that I was just screaming all over the place. Just had to move around before I'm about to like do something, about to hit something.
Yeah, you scared the chat that night.
Oh, yeah. I tend to do that. I don't know why it happens. I'm like literally like I feel like I'm one of the happiest people in the chat, I feel like. And so you have to try really hard to make me really mad. And this movie finds a way to do it, especially with, Joey King being one of the most lying, manipulative high school characters I've seen.
Speaking of, what do we think of Joey King's Elle as a protagonist?
Trash. She's trash. Trash. She's trash. Okay.
It's making you choke.
Yeah, it's making me choke. She is so ungrateful, selfish, lying, manipulative piece of garbage who just lies on her behind so many times. We literally had to like count how many times she's lied. And I think if I remember from the chat, it was like over 20, I think.
Oh yeah, so one of the commentary things we did while watching this movie is we made bets. We made 2 bets. The first one was how many times the movie would mention kissing booth. We've all lost because it only mentioned it 1 time. And then we did a second bet on how many times Joey King's character would lie. And ironically, I checked out my Letterboxd review for Kissing Booth 2, and I did the exact same thing for the second movie. I did not remember doing that. And it said that she lied 5 times in the second movie, and her best friend lied 3 times. So how many times did she lie again in the third one, Brandon?
I don't know. We honestly lost count. It was really feel like it was over 20 or 30 times she lied.
I actually do still have the score. She lied 27 times.
That's not even like double her lying. That's like quadruple times she lied to save her behind. And by the time it gets to the point where the movie's like, oh, maybe she's actually maybe she was kind of, she realized their consequences.
Yeah.
Literally only a few minutes in, and I'm literally only a few minutes that Joey King's character is like, oh my goodness, maybe I'm a terrible person. Yeah, no, duh, you are. You are a terrible person for the first, for the whole series. You are a horrible, horrible person. I don't know how you still have a best friend knowing the stuff that you've done in order to like get what you want, because you're just a jerk, a selfish, spoiled little brat.
I will say, I think the scene that made me lose any kind of hope for her was when, spoilers, I know, I can't believe I'm mentioning spoilers. If you are waiting to check out that movie, I suggest skipping this part, is when she was having that family get together with her dad and his girlfriend, and she basically said, what was it? I don't care what you want, or something like that, or like, I don't care about you.
I know she was essentially like wanting nothing to do with the dad's girlfriend, despite the fact that she had like a huge connection with her mom at the time. So when they were playing the game of Monopoly, the father's girlfriend was like, I want to be this, and Joe's King character's like, no, I want that. No, you can't have that. You can't have that. It's my mom. It's mom's, or it's mine. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, that was when I lost any kind of hope for her, because that was so disrespectful of her. to just put all this hate on his dad's girlfriend who was trying really hard to connect with her. And just knowing the fact that she was friends with the mom kind of makes it worse. I feel like her mom would come down from heaven and be like, "What are you doing? I did not raise you like this."
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, that girl need like a reality check, because like when the dad was angry at her, I'm like, good for him. Good for him for actually like telling her and just basically smack some sense into her and just say that you're disappointing her. And that you're angry at her. Like, you have every right to be mad. But then, of course, later on in the film, he's like, I'm not mad at you. I'm like, no, you still have every right to be mad at her, regardless of whether or not it was, like, quick or not. I think the one thing that made me pretty much lose it, and again, AJ can attest to this, was when they did a lot of reminiscing to the previous two films, and of course their past memories of her and her best friend and her best friend's brother. I pretty much just there was no holding it back. I just went 100 for full on angry mode and just started hitting my chair as much as I can. There was no going back from there. And the chat was just like, "Brandon, are you okay?" And I'm like, no, I'm not, because this movie sucks and Joey King character is terrible. I hate this, and I hate my life for watching this movie.
Yep, I can attest. That's exactly what happened.
But of course, this is me in my censored version. No, there was a lot more curse words when I was super angry, so I'm restraining myself. Don't worry.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. And I will say, she was not only, so she was the worst character, but there were other bad characters in this movie. Mainly the boyfriend, the best friend. For Pete's sake, Marco returns from the second movie to start that again.
Acting like the overly attached boyfriend. Like, why? This is almost like a Lifetime movie in the makings, in the process of Kissing Booth 3. And I'm just like, dude, why? You can literally just like, what? She doesn't have any interest in you. Why are you still going after her? It just makes you look just a stalker. Nobody wants to be with you if you want to be a stalker like that. So go find someone else, and go find someone else better than Joey's King character.
That whole time, and you can attest to this, like I'm saying, get together with the other woman who's probably the only decent person in this movie. I will say not the brightest, since she continues to hang out with these people, but they should have got together, since I guess they had the whole side plot of, this person's possibly taking my partner.
And not only that, like with Nate from Euphoria with his best friend, I'm like, dude, I see more chemistry with these two than I do with him and Joey King's character. And they're like best friends. And then there's like this again, another side plot about her parents getting divorced.
Oh my gosh.
And where did that lead to? Absolutely nothing. Literally made no difference whatsoever, other than just add the runtime over.
Yeah, and I remember they told at the worst opportune moment, because she was the best friend of, I believe, Noah. It was, because I wish I could remember her name. I wish I could remember some of these names.
I honestly just did not give a lick about these characters at all. I honestly did not want to know their names. I just go with Joey King's character, Nate from Euphoria, and the best friend, who's pretty much the kid from Super 8. That's pretty much it.
I remember she was playing pool with Noah, and that's when she got told that her parents were getting divorced, and we're just like, okay, are we gonna go somewhere with this? Nope, because we have to turn everything back to the actually toxic characters instead of the decent characters.
This is the most toxic relationship I've seen in a long time, probably since like 365 D&I, where I just had like a panic attack just dealing with that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, because, like, there were moments where the chat and we would sympathize with Noah, because Elle tried to be the people pleaser and, like, do everything at once, which I've had my own experience with someone like that, and it does not end up well. But then Noah does things that honestly make me kind of sympathize with Elle, but I say kind of since she go ahead and make a stupid decision or lie for, 27 times?
You know it's bad when we're really trying to grasp for straws for any sense of positive aspects of the film, which is, oh, this action I can sympathize with. Or, okay, there's something there, I mean, I guess we can say the one positive thing we can say, but even then, it's like such a backhanded compliment. It's not even funny, and it's the Mario Kart scene.
That scene. It shouldn't have worked, and it didn't work, but it was so out there. Like, we were not expecting it. And it's the fact that they held this at this random, what was it, racing kart area. I don't know what they're called.
This is like an event or some kind.
Either way, they probably had no authority to do that.
Oh,
yeah, they did it anyway.
No. So they end up like dressed up as like Mario Kart characters, and I'm just like, okay, that's sort of funny, but that's just like, what? Why are you doing, like, again, like, why? And I'm like, I'm surprised. Like, for me personally, I'm surprised knowing with Nintendo they actually was like, yeah, we're gonna allow this. We're gonna allow this for the Kissing Booth 3. When one of those companies that are very stingy with their products, they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead with Netflix movie. Come on. And when it came to the racing, it was like ridiculous, but it was kind of funny. Whether it's genuine or not, I have no idea. And how it went, I'm like, some people legit look like they broke something. Something probably need to go to hospital after the event that happened, because some of them went through like wrecks, hit some things, like pushed back as far as they could, like they broke something. I'm like, yeah, some of the stuff you're doing, like throwing bananas, throwing paintballs at people, literally could is like a recipe for disaster.
I will say I'm disappointed they did not end the race with recreating that meme with Luigi where Mario's coming in first, but Luigi just gives that look and goes in first after throwing a blue shell. Well, where were the blue shells? Unrealistic.
Yeah, unrealistic. I mean, the closest thing we got to Luigi just looking angry is like from Wario, but I'm like, that's the wrong character.
Oh my gosh, I will say, I just remember this. The one character who got the same treatment, well, possibly worse, is the best friend's girlfriend. Because in the second movie, it was like Elle was trying to steal the best friend from the girlfriend. Like, they even went to that Halloween party in the second movie and did not tell the girlfriend that they were dressing as something else. But then in the third movie, she's barely in it.
Yeah, she was like the third whale, while Joey King and the best friend might as well been a couple together, and then the guy's girlfriend might as well be the best friend, because quite frankly, the movie spent a lot of time with their chemistry, their friendship, than they did with the best friend's relationship with his own girlfriend, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. It's like, she deserved better. Some of these characters deserve better. Molly Ringwald, what are you still doing?
Just, because it's trying to be very nostalgic towards like the classic John Hughes films like Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, all that stuff. But of course it just doesn't work because whereas with John Hughes films where we can relate with them in some form or fashion, there's no way I can relate with any of these characters in the movie.
I think that's a good segue into our next, possibly final topic about, like, I think there's no more Kissing Booth movies, but I feel like there are going to be a lot more movies like this.
Yeah, because we still got the sequel for Tall Girl coming in. I don't know when.
Wait, we do?
Oh, you don't know! You don't know! Yeah, no, there's in development over a sequel for Tall Girl. I thought you know this. Oh, yeah. It looks like based on Wikipedia, yeah. There's a sequel for Tall Girl coming up. Filming began in like April 12th. Principal photography began in April 12th and concluded on May 21st. So technically, filming's kind of already finished for the sequel to Tall Girl.
For context, for everyone who follows my channel, and the chat will know this, I was challenged to watch Tall Girl, and I thought it would be a fantastic idea to watch this movie at 10 p.m. with a headache in bed. I got zero sleep that night.
Angel, why would you do that to yourself? That's a terrible idea.
Tall Girl was a terrible idea.
And yet, critics were more positive towards Tall Girl than they were with Kissing Booth. I'm like, I don't get it because it's literally like the same type of trash high school coming of age Netflix films that we always get every single time, rinse and repeat. And we're gonna get more of it just because, keeps making money. Kissing Booth, yeah, the series is over, but we still got more Tall Girls, more 365 Day Night, even though it's not a high school. There's just gonna be more like it no matter what.
And that's the sad thing. It's like when I hear upcoming movies that are in the high school genre, I get weary because I've seen movies like The Kissing Booth, like Sierra Burgess is a Loser, like Tall Girl. It's just, they're not good movies because they try to be realistic, and that's what makes it bad. It's like, it annoys us, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. It's just the Netflix high school films are gonna keep getting made no matter what, and it's just gonna annoy us because, quite frankly, we're not the right demographic for it. The demographic for it is high schoolers who teenagers who really like watching these type of films, whether it be because they would like to watch something very trashy or maybe like some form of escapism, perhaps. Maybe they just want to have a fun time, or maybe they just probably relate with this some way or form. I don't know, because I know with the first film, a lot of people saw the Kissing Booth, the first Kissing Booth. A lot of people saw it. That's how we got like 2 more sequels, because it was super popular on Netflix.
And that's a shame because like you can have high school movies and appeal to all different ages of the audience. Like, heck. And I was babysitting girls who were 3 years old and 5 years old, and they loved those movies. So I'm like, why can't we get high school movies that are fun and engaging?
AJ, I don't know what you're talking about saying the High School Musical isn't a good movie. It's a masterpiece. It's a genuinely good movie. I don't know what you're saying here. But no, you do have a point. No, you do have a point though, because high school films just honestly they just need to be fun. And if they want to be like and just go crazy, just go out, because with High School Musical, it wasn't meant to be taken serious, but there are some like subject matters in here that can be very relatable, like as the struggles of trying to find like the right college for you. Like that's a lot of people going through that when in senior year, not knowing which college they want to go to that work financially, distant wise, friends, relationships, families, all that stuff. With Kissing Booth series, there's like no shred of like genuinity. There's no sense of relatable aspects for us to be like, oh, I get what this person is coming from, like, or just the struggle. Because I know there's people who do struggle with like trying to maintain like friendships and relationship wise. I get that. With something like Kissing Booth 3, it's just I never like connect with it. I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Because quite frankly, when Joey King was struggling to maintain her friendship with her best friend and a relationship with her boyfriend, I'm just like, does this movie not realize that long distance relationships actually exist, or long distance friendships exist? Does the movie just not want to admit that it exists? Because that can honestly make the movie a lot more realistic, or I guess, if that subject exists. Because quite frankly, I have friends that live in long distance. For example, AJ lives in a completely different state than I do, but we're still fine. We're still cool. My best friend lives states away, and we're still cool. We still are very connected with each other. Like, the movie acts like if the best friend goes to Berkeley and she goes to Harvard, their friendship is over. That's not how that works.
Well, I guess we can happily say we at least will no longer be getting any Kissing Booth movies.
No, at least there's a shred, glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, but by the end of it, it's still mostly pitch black.
Very true. Yeah, so Kissing Booth 3 in my 2021 ranking is definitely one of the worst movies. That title still belongs to Space Jam 2, and Brandon knows why.
Oh, yes, I do.
All right, and where does that rank in your 2021 listing?
It's definitely one of the worst films I've seen. Not only is one of the worst films I've seen of this year, it's definitely one of the worst films I've seen, period, because it's just everything I hate about white privilege characters, like Joey King's character. Completely white privilege. I hate it. Still not, yeah, it's not the worst one because I at least kind of had fun with the Mario Kart scene. It's just everything else around it was such a nightmare to get through that I felt like I just want to like just go outside and just go on a walk. Where, I don't know, but I feel like just walking because I just rather walk than watch Kissing Booth 3. The title still goes to music because of how dangerous that film is and how boring and horribly executed it is. Because at least Kissing Booth 3 is not dangerous. It's just a horrible, selfish character like Joey King's character is. That just apparently is just having a struggle between two famous colleges, I guess. Like, oh my goodness, it's like, what should I pick? What should I choose? What if film is good? Like, I don't know.
All right, before you have a mental breakdown, I think we shall end it here. So I gave Kissing Booth 3, of course, a 0.5 star rating because it's trash. What about you, Brandon?
So yeah, same here. 0.5 stars out of 5 stars. The lowest of low.
All right, so yeah, thank you, Brandon, for coming in and reliving this wonderful experience we had together.
Oh, no problem. This was definitely a fun experience to be in.
All right, so then, if do you want to like tell the audience if there's any place that they can follow you or any future projects that you've recently developed?
Well, you guys can follow me on my Instagram, like Brandog White with a DOG. You can follow me on Letterboxd with Brandon White or Lamphead. Or you can follow me on my podcast with one of me and AJ's good friends, Jay, called Cinema Exposure, and you can find that on Anchor or Spotify.
And I have listened to the first episode, which they talk about a classic movie, and I really recommend listening to their podcast. They really dive into what makes this movie like popular and like if there's anything to critique about. So if there are any other movies you would love to see me and Brandon critique, because we've had our fair share of sync viewings, who knows, maybe he and I will revisit Tall Girl since there's apparently a sequel coming out.
If I watch Tall Girl 2, I'll probably just have the same reaction as Kissing Booth 3, and just will beg for God to just take Jesus, take the wheel, please. I just
Oh, hear me out.
my spirit was just going to heavens above right after Tall Girl 2.
Hear me out. A High School Musical 3 review.
See, at least that would be a good palate cleanser, because High School Musical 3 is a lot more relatable, despite the fact it has a very flashy, Saved by the Bell, corny type of approach to the film than The Kissing Booth or Tall Girl or any type of coming-of-age Netflix high school film.
I think that's actually a good idea since we will be going from one terrible high school movie to a high school movie that a lot of people grew up on, has a lot of popularity due to the cast, the characters, the songs, just everything about it. So I'd be up for that. But if you guys have any recommendations, just let us know in the comments. With that being said, thank you again, Brandon, for joining me. And I will see you all next time. Hope you have a good day. Bye.
Bye.